Hey guys, what is up? Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency video on the one and only XRP. And if it's your first time to the channel for daily XRP news and information, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the information today. So to start things off, I really just want to cover one of Galgatron's blogs today. And, this might not be news for a lot of you, but if you don't know the technical side of how xRapid works, and xRapid is the software product of the private company Ripple that will be utilizing XRP to source on-demand liquidity. And this is an extremely well-written blog. Galgatron's personal belief is he believes, XRP could be a very high value, but he's very, very conservative and believes this is going to happen over time gradually. But he has full faith in this asset. Very smart guy. So I kind of want to just go over this and explain how xRapid itself works, because there is a lot of miscommunication and misinformation on, the actual software product and how it functions. So really quick, so let's check this out. So you remember September 24th, 2018, right before xRapid launched, we were kind of curious why that price, went extremely high, almost tripling, but basically doubling at that point. I know I covered that again. It could have been, a little testing, still speculation. If anyone knows exactly why that price shot up at the end of September, please let me know. But essentially, he wants to talk about, xRapid, and he's very sarcastic, but very, very smart. And he goes, I sent you here because you're the millionth person to ask me the same damn questions, because nobody takes the time to review my endless tweets on this topic, even though I cover this in enormous, painstaking detail that would answer all of your questions. So again, guys, he has all of this here. So let's just talk about it. And essentially, I would like to paraphrase, but it is so well written that I might read some of this verbatim. If it bothers you, click on another video, but this is full of information. So be sure to stick around if you actually are invested in XRP and you want to, understand one of the primary use cases for XRP in the ecosystem that's going to drive initial utility before we see other things like Coil and different platforms and Spring initiatives really throw this platform into more utility. So, you've been hearing a lot about Ripple's wonderful product, xRapid, but you're just not sure if what you're seeing with the price has anything to do with it. Well, for certain, it was all speculative and not any real-world usage of xRapid. Besides the fact that xRapid still hasn't been released to the public, there are reliable ways to distinguish speculation from xRapid utility volume. So he's actually talking about the price and market, and we'll go over. There's a way actually to calculate how much of the market is speculation based and how much is actually driving utility for the price of XRP today. And this is very, very interesting. But I continue. I explained it all below, but first let's open up xRapid a bit so we can better understand it, to contrast against Ripple's other banking product, XCurrent. So, XCurrent, it is used by banks and other FIs to send money from one country to another. Biggest thing with XCurrent though, is it is only the messaging layer over these no-strode funds. So it allows banks to quickly and cheaply settle pre-allocated funds globally. Similar to, but perfectly replaces the function of SWIFT today. And in terms of savings for the XCurrent product that initially is what onboards people to be on RippleNet and become a Ripple customer, it's saving them anywhere from 30 to 40% over the SWIFT ecosystem today. Now, next up, they want people to go onto xRapid after getting everybody on XCurrent. And again, today we have XCurrent 4.0, so they can actually onboard a lot easier onto xRapid. And they're building all of that, infrastructure as well. So xRapid, it's also used by banks and other FIs to send money from one country to another, just like XCurrent in that regard. However, it uses XRP to settle between any form of two currencies, whether, they're two different currencies, fiats, cryptos. It can essentially be any form of value on the XRP ledger. It allows banks to quickly and cheaply settle globally without pre-allocated funds. Whereas here, XCurrent allows banks to quickly and settle pre-allocated funds globally. This is actually getting rid of all of these allocated funds, getting rid of that idle money, no need, and it can essentially replace the Nostro accounts if these banks and FIs decide to hold a portion of XRP to accommodate for that. So a completely different approach to cross-border transfers from how SWIFT does it. It flips the whole system on its head and replaces it altogether. And instead of 30 to 40% savings with SWIFT, over SWIFT with XCurrent, it'll save them 40 to 70%. And remember, if a product is faster, more secure, saves money, bottom line, the company will migrate to it in time, but this is the financial world, so it's going to go through lots of rigorous testing. Good thing we've found documentation of them, experimenting with all of this in DLT and even Ripple, the company itself, and RippleNet for years. But again, it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. You are invested in gold. This is probably, one of the biggest transfers of wealth we're ever going to see, guys. And I can't emphasize that enough. And for people that might be unhappy that we're just slowly going up in due time, thanks to utility, this might not be for you. All right, so how does xRapid work? Simple. Let's say I'm a bank in Mexico and I need to get money to a bank in India. The Mexican bank already has an account at a Mexican crypto exchange and already has xRapid installed, the software product. Likewise, the Indian bank has an account at an Indian crypto exchange and already has xRapid installed. So these are both two banks that are connected as xRapid. They're integrated to xRapid today. So let's see how this whole transfer works. The Mexican bank types into the xRapid interface the destination tags, the exchange, the XRP address to receive the funds, different bank-related details like destination of bank, who gets the money, etc., that information, and the amount to transfer. Next, xRapid comes back with fees to perform this function, and these fees are a total of the service charges paid to Ripple, and remember, Ripple's the private company, they charge these clients to do this because they are saving them so much money. All right, no stats on this because they're tailored to each company and not disclosed, which is expected. And next, the expected Mexican exchange costs from converting Mexican pesos to XRP. So there's different service fees to accommodate, especially for slippage as well. And we'll go over slippage either in this video or in the next one, just so everybody, fully understands how the order books essentially work, especially in a nascent market like this, where we're still developing the liquidity that we need. But once it goes, the more liquidity we have, the more demand, the more the less volatility we're going to have, the more use cases and larger size transfers can be made as well. So these costs get more expensive as the size of the transfer increase. All right, so these costs get more expensive as the size of the transfer increases because the more money involved, the more price slippage on the exchanges. Next, other fees are like the XRP ledger transaction fees, which is absolutely minuscule, the burn rate for XRP, and then expected Indian exchange fees from converting XRP to rupees. Same list as first exchange. So we got the bank types the information in the xRapid interface. It comes back, xRapid comes back with the fees. Step 3, the Mexican bank now decides if it makes more sense to use xRapid or XCurrent, or just go to Swift altogether. And there's lots of parameters to consider. Obviously, it's much more than just cost savings as well. So are the xRapid fees costs going to be higher than Swift in this case? I doubt it. How fast does the transfer have to be? Are you, in a rush? How long does the bank want to be exposed to volatility? And remember, there's different factors. So whereas xRapid, I know it transfers over the XRP ledger within, 3 to 4 seconds, which is great. But the whole transaction of, the human element of typing it in, making sure we're going to the right addresses, all of that, that could be a few minutes. But overall, the currency is actually settled instantaneously as soon as you click that button. But now remember, people are worried that XRP or digital assets, whatever currency you want to send, can be volatile. When in reality, if you use Swift, the fees are going to be high and it won't settle for 3 to 5 days. And remember, there's volatility that occurs with fiat as well. So what are the banks going to do? It's going to be, pros and cons, a cost-benefit analysis, and decide what the best route is. And obviously, it's going to be xRapid. So it doesn't always make sense to use xRapid because if the price, like right now, it might not make sense exactly. So it doesn't always make sense to use xRapid because if the price of XRP is too low, then the slippage will not make xRapid cost effective. All right. Hopefully, I believe we'll go over slippage in this. If not, I'll go over it next. And the banks will revert to either XCurrent if both banks are using it, or they'll fall back into Swift if this transaction would be cheaper and fast enough. In no use cases are the banks going to pay enormous slippage to increase the price of XRP just to be able to send large transfers. Beat that through your head. Even David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, states that growth will be slow and steady with small amounts to start. And keep in mind, though, they are very bullish. They're very bullish on how high this value of XRP can be. A lot of people say it'll never pass $100, but they just don't understand this ecosystem. I think it's going to fly past that if we see these payment rails keep going. And the progress I've seen alone in the past few years is unbelievable. Like, I've never been more excited. But anyways, So banks are in the business to make money, not to make all of us XRP holders millionaires, period. And I agree with that sentiment, but I still believe that we could see some significant price jumps in the future, different multiplier effects and FOMO, especially from the speculative side of the market. And that's why I'm a little more bullish at certain points. But again, it's unpredictable. And if we're talking about utility base only, absolutely, I think slow and steady will make sense. But I think that it's going to be a domino effect because, all right, from right now to get to $1, it's not going to take that much. And say you have XRP right now and you bought at 30, 40 cents. That's awesome. And when it goes to $5, that's a huge increase. Now people might buy at $5 and go to $10. That's only 2x their investment. However, if you got in at 30 or 40 cents or even 50 cents, that's more than 10x your investment right there. So that's why even as an investor that's early, these multiplier effects can be insane. Where some people will think it's still slow, steady growth. You and I, who have been here first at the bottom of this bear market, are going to have insane returns. All right. And again, I've seen endless references to the banks forcing the price of XRP up because they need to make large transfers, but that's just not how it works. And I'll explain further down. And I like this. I like this realism because we need to hear this. We don't want it to just be hopium. We don't want all of this hype and information and emotion to basically, impact our investing. So step 4, let's say the cost of XRapid when it comes back for the fees for this particular transaction makes sense to this, the banks. Remember, it's Mexico sending to India. The Mexican bank hits the go button. At this time, Ripple collects its service charge just for using xRapid, unrelated to the transfer fees. Next, xRapid instantly, automatically instructs the Mexican exchange to purchase the appropriate amount of XRP using the pesos the bank already has on the exchange. Within a few moments, up to a minute or so, the bank now owns that XRP in Mexico, and the Mexican exchange has made its fees. This purchase contributes to the overall market volume that we all see. Step 6. xRapid then instructs the Mexican exchange to send that XRP to the Indian bank's Indian exchange XRP address in India, where Indians live. Very important to understand that this is nothing more than a transaction on the XRP ledger from one address to another, period. And this happens in 3 to 4 seconds and cost nearly nothing in the burn fees. Remember, the burn rate with XRP is minuscule. That's just to protect from spamming the network. So though the exchanges may impose other withdrawal deposit fees, this step shows up in the Ripple payments chart here. Step 7. This Indian crypto exchange receives the XRP, and then they credit it to the Indian bank's exchange account minus the possible deposit fees. Next, xRapid at the Indian bank senses that deposit and automatically instructs the Indian exchange to sell that XRP for their native fiat rupees minus the exchange fees. Done. In just a few minutes from start to finish, the Indian bank now has the rupees under its control in the Indian's exchange custodian facility, and the transfer is considered settled. Settled. We're not talking debits and credits. We're not just talking fancy messaging standards that keep track of everything and bilateral messaging like XCurrent or even, what Swift can do to an extent. So the Indian bank is now able to pay creditors or customers knowing they have those funds secured. No more counterparty risk. No more worrying about not having enough money on hand and having to keep all of the trillions of dollars tied up just in case for a rainy day, which happens a lot with Swift, as we know, with the high error rates. Notice during this process, the two exchanges were involved. So right here, for the two conversions, we had Mexican pesos and then, Mexican bank to the Mexican exchange, they got the XRP. And then they send the XRP to the Indian XRP exchange. Indian XRP exchange sends it to the bank and they transfer it back to rupees. So we got pesos, XRP, rupees. And the XRP ledger was hit only once when the actual value was moved from Mexico to India, right here. That's when it was moved, XRP to XRP. Having said all of this, another alternative, and again, this was bank to bank, another alternative is for these banks to source their XRP from third-party liquidity providers instead of these exchanges. So fundamentally, everything works the same as if they were exchanges, but the XRP purchases and sales made with these liquidity providers, LPs, do not show up as volume in the markets. Only the XRP ledger sees it, and this is very important. So pay attention to this now. Because a lot of people always ask about volume. They're tagging me on things on Twitter, and I appreciate it. But they're always, questioning different things that they see on the website as well. And there's a lot of glitches and different updates as well. But this is important. All XRapid transfers always hit the ledger, even if they do not hit the markets right away. LPs, liquidity providers, are expected to come online as the bank demand for XRP increases. All right, so we're going to see more and more liquidity providers come online. They're going to be incentivized by Ripple. And it'll be very, very interesting to see how this all evolves. But to me, I feel like this is a master plan. I've been reading more and more about it, and it's extremely well thought out. And again, it has to be, because some of the smartest people in the world are working on solving this global liquidity crisis. And luckily, we have some multi-billion-dollar private companies that are working instead of just government organizations that are subject to a lot more bureaucracy. All right. And even though they don't directly contribute to the XRP market volume, they still increase overall demand for XRP. And I know a lot of people are saying there's a lot of FUD because XRP, xRapid's actually not going to increase the price. False. You do not understand this ecosystem. The founders, everybody says that xRapid is going to begin everything for XRP, and it'll increase the demand. And you already know what happens when demand is increased. And the XRP will eventually come from the exchanges at some point. So it actually has a latent effect on increasing the volume, and hence demand, and hence price, and hence Lambo. I'll never buy a Lamborghini. I hate that term. So sorry if you guys like it. But all right, so what can we expect with the price? So there are now two parts to the price of XRP. So we have speculation, and remember, this is the value added to XRP by speculators. They're either reacting to the good news, FOMO, fear of missing out, like the pending release of xRapid or PNC Bank joining RippleNet, or defecting from Bitcoin because of a major bug discovery, etc., any type of news. And it can also be value removed from the price because of some bull... Okay, FUD. So anyways, again, speculation plays a huge role in new markets. And I know a lot of people are complaining, but if anything, it's validating the space. It's adding legitimacy to all of this. And this was the foundation we actually needed. This FUD has actually, served to create this speculative market to get more attention and more liquidity that we need to see that utility as well. So it really does help, and it's just amazing to watch the space evolve. And next, there's the second part for the price of XRP, and this is the most important. This is the biggest part. This is what's going to send XRP to 3 and 4 digits in the future. Utility. This is the value added to XRP by xRapid and other examples such as Coil's web monetization, Vitavin's TipBot, and of course any other purchases that are made with XRP in any form, especially the Spring Initiative, which is going to be massive as well. All right, so we all know that speculation makes the damn price go crazy like some goddamn monkey frenetically bouncing around with no rhyme or reason. All right, so pay attention to this, and I'm just reading this. So, as all the bullshit TA artisans could attest to, if they had 1 ounce of humility to be honest about, whales manipulate the crap out of XRP, and we often see XRP moving in tandem with all the other coins, particularly when there's low trading volume. It's clear XRP's price is nearly 100% speculative valuation at the time of writing this, and this is September of 2018. And again, we know that's not the case today, but there's still a high percentage of speculation in the market. But the good thing is, with so much utility today, I don't see us going much lower. We're not going to zero. You can't. There's utility. We're actually making transfers, and there's plenty of holders as well. And there's also a lot of XRP that has been lost. So don't sweat it. XRP will not go to zero. And we are still at the bottom. We're not even at $1. We are in pennies. The upside is tremendous. All right, so, which also means there's very little utility pricing, and that was at the time. It's possible for XRP to go to near zero in value in a purely speculative environment. And remember, it's not purely speculative anymore, but again, this is just a good point. So how can we tell what is speculative versus utility? Well, very easily, and this is what I like, and this is basically the whole point of the video that I want to emphasize, because this is huge. And so for anyone sticking around, you're a true XRP holder. All right, so speculation transactions. These mostly show up in the markets and not on the XRP ledger. When you buy and sell in the markets, you're not really hitting the XRPL. You're just trading in a virtual environment on the market. So of course, you'll not see your trades in the ledger. And this is a good thing because we don't want to flood the XRP ledger with all of these millions of trades that wouldn't make any sense anyways. This type of activity can be seen on typical sites like CoinMarketCap and LiveCoinWatch. Now, this kind of activity will not reflect in the next point. Next, and this is utility again, utility transactions in these payments. These are actual movements of XRP on the XRP ledger, which can be seen on the payments chart at Ripple's excellent website. All right. And I know a lot of you pay attention to that, and you pay attention to the volume and ledger payments and everything like that, which is great. So one very important aspect to understand about XRapid is that, or about XRapid that's unique to it, is that XRapid drives both market, and this is cool, it drives both market and ledger transactions in a ratio of 2-to-1, because there's two exchanges and one ledger transaction for every XRapid transfer. Remember that. And so I went over that. So we got the two exchanges. For example, you're sending money from Mexico to India. So we have the Mexican crypto exchange, and it sends it to the Indian crypto exchange and XRP. So those are two exchanges. But remember, they're sending it on the XRP L in 3 to 4 seconds. So the ratio is 2-to-1. So in this way, it's actually possible to figure out approximately how much of the current price of XRP is due to speculation or utility. The easiest way to find this is by comparing the first and third figures shown on this page, total market cap exchange volume versus total ledger volume. This will suffice for now, but as further XRP adoption takes hold in other business sectors, the ledger volume should outstrip market volume, but we're a very long ways from that. By comparing these two figures, you can easily determine how much speculation versus utility there is today. If the market volume is far greater than the ledger volume, then it's not XRapid driving the price. And that's why am I yelling? So very good point. So we're going to pay attention to that trend in the future, guys. Let's pay attention to the true market volume that we're seeing. And again, the regulations are coming. They're going to hit hard and get rid of a lot of this wash trading and fake trading we see on these exchanges. And we're going to pay attention to that trend, because when you see the ledger volume outweigh this market volume, utility is kicking in. So what does this all mean for the price of XRP? And we're almost done, guys. To make things easier to understand, let's use an elevating platform analogy. Today, we're on the bottom floor, meaning the price can actually touch zero. And in my opinion, it absolutely can't because of utility now, but this was before XRapid, meaning the price can actually touch zero. And the idiot speculation monkey is bouncing like crazy on the platform, randomly influencing the price of XRP. And this is just the speculative part of the market. So it's the combined height of the platform and the idiot monkey bouncing on the platform that determines the price of XRP at any given moment. There's not really a true rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes the monkey jumps high into the air, signifies a pump in this analogy, and sometimes the monkey gets royal slapdown from a whale. And a whale is, a large investor with tons of XRP in this case. And he just lies there on the platform near death. And that's the dump, when the whale takes advantage or, things of that nature. Next. Now that the utility is about to come on board, the floor, that bottom floor of zero, will slowly rise, but it surely will. And we can't get rid of that, the stupid speculative monkey that keeps the price volatile, because the speculative element is still active in the market today. And that's you and I, that's trading bots, that's way beyond just holders as well. And it's based off emotion for all of you that maybe buy in, buy out, selling altcoins, things of that nature. And that's completely fine. I don't get mad at anybody for trading or buying and holding or selling. I don't care. I'm not a child. I see where this market's going. Now, but the market cannot go through the floor as it rises. So, as further XRapid adoption continues, this floor that was once at zero will accelerate some. Now, sometimes it'll go up faster than before as well. So the monkey will continue the pumps, the dumps, but that floor is still rising and will guarantee at least a minimum value for XRP. And it's this value you should be paying attention to. Betting on the monkey is senseless. So betting on the speculative side of the market is pointless. But betting on that rising floor, that utility, is smart money. Hopefully you can understand now that XRapid utility usage will not moonshot XRP overnight. Surely there may be some massive FOMO buy-in once banks announce that they're starting to use XRapid, and they will send the monkey hundreds of feet into the air. And exactly, I think that the price could go extremely high. I want to keep it to myself, but I think we're going to see. I have some predictions for myself, what we're going to see, especially with the influence of MoneyGram towards the end of the year. But I'm keeping that to myself. But only speculation creates parabolics, and what monkey goes up must come down. Very well said. But if that floor increases, that monkey doesn't have to go down as much. So the XRP speculation monkey can't fly. There is not trillions of dollars parked on the sidelines waiting for the XRapid gates to open. That's just not how business works. Businesses work. So FIs, financial institutions, will pick at XRapid, tease it, roll it around in their mouths, and eventually mount it and give it the business. But that will take time to build to that comfort level. And I agree. I know a lot of regulators are also getting more comfortable, but what's happening is we have the second world's money transfer service, MoneyGram, on board, and it's going to force more people to play with it, test it, and eventually I mean, the proof of concepts already exists. They're going to be using it more and more. And they're slowly going to onboard all of that. And that's how we're actually going to see the snowballing effect, this domino effect. So forget about the platform launching to the moon. It's a slow, steady, but accelerating process. Now, this is Galgatron's belief. He's very conservative. He sees the upside for XRP. He thinks it's the most superior digital asset by far. But keep in mind, he's only basing this price off of xRapid utility. There's so many other factors to consider. I think he's a smart guy, but I still disagree to an extent. I think that, of course, the speculative market is going to be massive. I think that with the Spring Initiative, web monetization, I think, the Codius smart contract platform, the sky is the limit. And I wholeheartedly believe that we are holding gold. Never invest more than you're willing to lose, but guys, this is something special. I'm going to be making videos no matter how low the price of XRP goes, because I am a believer. I've been here for a while. I've seen the progress, and I've never been more bullish. Like, this is fundamental analysis. You're seeing all of these, and I'll do some future videos as well, but this news is just too good to be true. And I'll take that back. It's not too good to be true. It's actually happening. All right, so there is, however, an interesting synergy between the monkey and the rising utility platform. As demonstrated earlier, xRapid transaction size is limited by slippage costs. So, if the price of XRP is too low, it reduces the practical size of the possible xRapid transfers. But when speculators drive the monkey part of the price up, it now becomes possible for larger xRapid transactions to occur. See, speculation actually helps this market grow. This is good. This volatility can be actually extremely beneficial for us as holders. So in other words, the speculator monkey can help lift this platform as if the monkey was attached to the platform by a bungee cord. When it jumps high into the air, it pulls on the bungee cord and ever so slightly raises the utility platform to new heights of stability. And hence, it's bringing the utility up, and it's going to be harder for that utility. Once the utility's up, it's harder for it to go down. Remember, speculation can go up and down, but that floor is increasing, and it's not going to go any lower. So we're going to keep seeing new highs. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, maybe 30 cents, there'll be 40 cents. And eventually to us, 50 cents will be extremely, extremely low. Eventually $10 will be extremely low. We're still going to see volatility exist, whether xRapid, pumps the price and banks actually buy a lot and we see a $25 XRP. Maybe it'll only retrace back to $15. We're never going to see 30 cents again. That's just how I feel about this. And again, this is in the future. I'm not going to say how long, but this is an investment. It's not, don't look for days or weeks. This is long term. And there's a lot of things at risk. All right. So I know it's starting slowly, but it's going to pick up speed over time. And as I was saying, as price increases, it's going to happen a lot faster. These percentage of gains and your ROI is going to be a lot faster. So I don't want you guys to be disappointed and be like, oh, it's going to be slow and steady. This is massive. All right. And it will just keep going up. There are very few things that could stop or reverse this platform, like competition or abusive regulation. But these hurdles seem inconsequential at this time, so at least for the short term, that platform will do its thing and provide a nice foundation for XRP's value, no matter what the monkey is doing on top of it. And again, we already know that there's been some more, regulations and partnerships. Oh, excuse me, dropped my phone. But guys, there's just a lot of things going on right now. We have MoneyGram, working around the legal workaround framework. We have SBI, we have more corridors, and the barriers to entry are better than they've ever been before. For both the retail side, you and I, and the institutional side. With Backed coming, more future contracts, more ETP, exchange-traded products. If you're not bullish on XRP specifically, I do not know what to tell you because, well, actually I do. It just means you haven't done your research. Because if you have, you'd realize why this is huge. So again, we're going to finish off with this little paragraph. The ride-up has begun. Be glad you got on the ground floor. And this is for all of you. I don't care if you bought at $3. That is ground floor. This is chump change still. The valuation will be higher. Sure, it's never as fast as we'd like it. Sure, maybe you've been holding for, almost 2 years and you're tired. Big deal. You just sit there and be patient. But I'd take a slowly rising platform over betting on the monkey any day. Don't ask me about price predictions, please. It's all a guess at this point. Just know it will get better. And to quote Stephen Thomas was the previous CTO. He's now head of Coil for web monetization for XRP. And this is what he said regarding how much higher XRP must be to effectively service cross-border transfers alone. He said, and he has to be vague, representing the company. He said, orders of magnitude higher. What the hell does that mean? Orders of magnitude higher than the current price of XRP today. We're talking multiples, 2x, 10x, 50x. This is insane, guys. All right, with real utility. This is not just some proof of work coin. This is not some, don't even get me started. I don't want to disrespect other projects that are still building. But XRP is the most legitimate asset of them all. I don't care if you see, 5x gains in something else and XRP only goes up 10%. You're looking long term with something that's going to survive, hold your money, and then grow and outpace all of the other assets in the market when the time is right. I'm telling you, this is the largest use case, the best developed project in the market. Please do your own research, look around, maybe read some of more Galgatron's blogs, because you have to look at the good and the bad and make an informed decision. Do not look at a YouTuber. Do not blame me. Do not blame another for your purchases and your decisions. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for our own success. So forget about the volatility. Find something to preoccupy you for the next few years while this investment bakes. And for Christ's sake, wash those socks. I don't know. So Galgatron, honestly, great article. I really appreciate it. Very, very smart guy. You tell it how it is, and to each their own. I agree with you to an extent. So really appreciate it. But guys, hopefully that answered some questions. Let me know if you have any questions down below. If I cannot answer them, I will try to, search. Perhaps I'll ask some additional people in the community, or we can even ask, David Schwartz on Twitter, see if he comes back to us with some information and clarity. But again, you and I, as speculative investors, it's good to know how this all works, to set expectations correctly, because the space is nascent. A lot of people are uninformed, unfortunately, and that's why they're not holding. But for those that truly actually deep dive and they're not looking to just make a quick buck, but actually change and create generational wealth, it attracts the right minds. So the XRP community, I think, is the most intelligent group of them all. I know that we can be pretty tribal-like, almost cultish in a way. But again, guys, it's all based on the foundations, the fundamentals. So with that, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.